What's going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it's time to talk about Dragon Ball Super Episode 79. It was kind of an interesting episode to talk about for multiple reasons, actually. First of all, the animation and art is definitely worth talking about. Not that it's bad or anything like that, but there's just some interesting things in there that are kind of weird, I guess I could say. And also the cloaked dude and who we thought the cloaked dude was going to be, that was interesting. So yeah, let's just get started. We got Majin Buu versus Basil. Not too much to really talk about. Buu and him fight. And I guess I'll just dive right into the technical aspects of the episode because that's really important in a fight episode. So how's the music? It's really good. Especially the last song they used for Boo's big finish, which was like this weird kind of a Kamehameha, but it wasn't the right color, so I don't know if I want to call it that, but it was a Kamehameha-like beam, and he hits him with it, and they're playing this music, and I believe it actually is called, like, Majin Buu Awakens or whatever. It's from the Dragon Ball Z Kai soundtrack, and they've used this song a lot. They have. It's one of those songs that I'm kind of like... It's one of the songs I mentioned in previous reviews where I'm like, don't reuse the songs too much from Kai, like don't use the same Kai songs over and over, but it fits here. I mean, it's about Majin Buu, and Majin Buu was there when they used it, so it perfectly makes sense. And how was that finished, though? That was a badass explosion, right? But yeah, really good use of music, art and animation. I believe this episode was supervised by Naoki Tate, and for a Tate episode, it looked especially polished. He clearly had more time with this episode than previous episodes. That or he just did key animation on it, because he definitely did the fight scene towards the end between Basil and Buu, where they're going at it, just hand-to-hand combat. Basil's throwing the kicks, hitting Buu in the head. Clearly all that was Tate. Even some reaction shots of Goku and everybody, those were clearly him as well. It was a well-animated episode. There's a lot of, I noticed a lot of jaw movement in the characters. You know, they didn't just keep the face static with a moving mouth. They actually moved the jaw in a lot of scenes. Really cool scene when his name was Toppo, blocks that blast from hitting like the Universe 11 floaty thing. And we also get confirmation that that's the dude with the mustache, not the Martian dude. And that does concern me a little bit on like how well written this arc's gonna be and how, because like in the first initial preview, which came out like 2 or 3 weeks before the arc started, it was clearly not fucking the dude with the mustache. And even now, with the new cloak on him, it still looked kind of white underneath, but now it's the mustache guy. And I guess you could say that was the mustache instead of like a face, but just the fact that they switched that within like 3 weeks, because there's a full model of his character out there. He has like big burly hands, and that's not what the initial cloaked figure looked like. So I'm a little worried about the writing. I don't, because that's very fast to change that. Like that's kind of like you just totally switched out who the character would be. That's a little iffy to me, but maybe I'm just being paranoid. It has nothing to do for the production value thing. Really, you just have to take one guy out, put one guy in. They could do that in seconds, so I'm not worried about rushed animation or anything. It's just rushed storytelling, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of the Clown God and like the Universe 11 dudes, there's a scene where they're reacting to like the explosions and shit going on, and they look completely off model. And then there's another, and not in a bad, like they didn't look badly drawn. They didn't look like fucking Dragon Ball. And then there's another scene where the Universe 9, Seadra, and the Kai, which I think his name's Ro, and then there's the Angel. There's another shot of them that look well drawn enough, but just not like Dragon Ball at all. So I don't know who came in to do those two scenes, because they looked similar. And the animation was still fine. The jaw still moved when they talked and everything, but it didn't look like Tate. It didn't look like anybody I've seen work on Dragon Ball. It didn't even look like Dragon Ball at all, especially the God of Destruction, Seadra, but whatever, not a big deal. There's a couple of still shots with some mouth movements, and a little bit of jaw animation, not a big deal. The fighting's where it's at, and it's really good. Some of the shots in the fighting early on are a bit conservative, you know what I mean? Like, they aren't particularly super fluidly animated. Like, he'll hit Buu in the air, he does, like, the rapid kicking. It's a lot of smears. I don't really like smear rapid kicks and rapid punches, but it didn't last very long. It wasn't like My Hero Academia, the last fight between All Might and Nomu, and like they're rapid punching each other and it's like all smears. I didn't like that. But it was just a quick cut of just some smear kicks, and then that cool moment where he hits Buu in the air and then trips him, and then Buu comes back with that stretchy headbutt. They really take advantage of Buu in this episode, his regenerative ability, his brutal nature when he gets pissed, when he's just like the monkey with the cymbals, just fucking slamming him, throws him, he does like the cartoony like back and forth and throws him into the pillar. All that stuff was super entertaining, super fun. As soon as Mr. Satan got hit by a stray blast, I knew Boo was not going to be having none of that, and it was really entertaining. Last explosion was really great. Even Basil, like during the Tate cut, there was some really great effects work. He starts throwing all these blasts down, and it's like this abstract, like really great shot of them raining down, and then the big explosion happens. Lots of great Tate effects in there. So visually, the episode, outside of those weird off-model shots, visually the episode's really good. A little conservative in the beginning, a little bit more well animated towards the ending, and just a really good, solid fight for Boo. I would say this is what we missed out on in the Universe 6 arc, but because the Universe 6 arc was still in the phase where they were like transitioning to a slightly better production schedule, it probably would not have been nearly this good. So, kind of glad we got to wait on seeing Boo fight until the animation was a lot better than it used to be. And this was a really entertaining fight. We got Gohan next. I was hoping to see a little bit of Gohan versus Lavender. Just like kind of like how we got a little bit of Boo at the end of the last episode, and then the bulk of the fight was in this episode. I was kind of hoping we'd get a little bit of Gohan, and then the bulk of it be the next episode, but we have to wait till next week. And the next episode preview is kind of interesting because it looks like they're dropping the filter, but not the colors, because the colors still looked the same, but I noticed that they did not have the thick line art, so either they haven't, either they haven't done the post-production on that episode yet from when the preview was made, or they're dropping the filter and just changing the colors, which I'd rather have that. I mean, I kind of like the thick line art, but there's still something about the shadows that looks too filtered over the characters. So if they can keep the thick line art in some episodes and then get rid of the weird darkened shadows and just make it look a little more natural, that would be great. But next episode looks really good as well. Conservative animation-wise based on the preview. It's a lot of the, typical looping, rapid punches and kicks, but I like those, so I'm not going to complain. Will Gohan win or not? I'm not too sure. I could see it going either way, honestly. If he loses, he could have that big comeback in the actual tournament and really, like, train with Piccolo, get his ultimate form back. Or he could win and still say, I should have had an easier time with that guy. I shouldn't have been blinded by him. I'm going to dedicate to training. I could see him go either way, so we'll see. But if he does lose and redeem himself in the actual tournament, then we'll have a tiebreaker for Goku versus Bagomo or whatever his name is. I'm not sure. And Goku, based on the opening, is going to fucking stomp him, but hopefully that's entertaining. Speaking of Tate, he did that in the opening too. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but really well animated episode, really good use of music, well paced episode. It wasn't too slow or anything. Like, some of the tournament fights in the Universe 6 arc had some of those stare downs, like Vegeta and Goku laying on the ground after getting hit by a hit. I hate saying that, but whatever. So yeah, none of that slow down stuff, and I get why they do that. They do it to conserve animation, and that was the big transition arc to when the animation started getting a lot better, so I don't want to be too hard on it or anything. But yeah, pacing was solid, music solid, animation solid, like I said. A couple of weird art moments, but nothing that detracts from this episode, getting a solid 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a very good to great episode of Dragon Ball. It's just a fight episode, and as a fight episode, it did its job. And there's even a little bit of story progression, because we see the Omni Kings watching the fight, getting bored when Goku keeps bringing up the rules, like, cheating and ring outs, and I really like that it seems like when the actual Tournament of Power comes around, either there's going to be no rules at all, because Zeno thinks that's boring, or they're going to sort of build the rules around Zeno's request, so you're sort of seeing how the Tournament of Power is going to shape based on Zeno's reaction to this Zen exhibition match, so I really like that story progression too. I think that's clever, so great episode. I talked way more on the animation than I thought I was going to, but hopefully you guys thought this review was entertaining. I also have a, my Understanding the Characters series where I've talked about Gohan, Vegeta, Krillin. I've got a Goku one coming out, so that'll be interesting. That'll be fun. I'll be doing Let's Talk About Goku, Understanding a Character. That'll be coming out soon, so look forward to that. But with all that being said, what do you guys think of this episode? You can go ahead and tell me in the comments section below. Give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here. Click that little bell to get notifications when my videos go up. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.